Imagine walking into a hospital knowing you're walking in with your leg and you're not walking out with it. That's exactly what Bart Merrell had to do. And yet, in the middle of the fear, the uncertainty, and the loss of his leg, he asked a surprising question. Can I monetize this? Not out of greed, but out of preparedness, out of wanting freedom. Today's episode isn't about making money. It's about seeing the opportunity where others see setbacks and building a safety net so that when life happens, and it will, you're not left scrambling. And even if you don't think of yourself as an entrepreneur or side hustle material, I promise you, this episode is for you. Welcome to UnCeiling You, the podcast where we dismantle the ceilings, external and internal, that hold us back and unseal the brilliance inside. I'm your host, Dr. Natalie Luke, and today's guest, Bart Merrell, is here to help you think differently about income, resilience, and what's already inside you. Because sometimes we don't recognize our own strengths. It's like trying to describe your own nose without a mirror. But once you're in a community, once someone holds up a mirror, you start to see there's gold right underneath your feet. The three big promises of this episode, if you're ready to monetize value, even if you can't see it yet, whether it's your job skills, your hobbies, or your life experiences, Bart shows us how to look at it with fresh eyes. Hear how Bart's financial resilience softened the blow when life got hard, not once, but twice. And you don't need to take that leap alone. Mentors, community, and accountability partners are what turn ideas into action. This season is all about building a community around you because no matter how smart, capable, or driven you are, you can't grow in a vacuum. You need the right people in your corner. And this conversation with Bart hits all three parts of season 3. Bart challenges us to see the value we've been blind to and prepare now, not later. From mentors to community members, Bart shows us how talking with others unlocks ideas you'd never think of alone. And whether it's jumping off a bungee tower, literally, or starting a dog training business, or turning a setback into an income, Bart shows us what boldness really looks like. This is UnCeiling in action, taking the lid off of what you thought was possible and letting your light out. If today's episode sparks something in you, if you're tired of doing it alone, if you're wondering what's inside your box that's waiting to be unsealed, come join us in the UnCeiling Zone, our private community for people just like you. You'll get live coaching and Q&A with me, actionable resources and templates, a supportive network of ambitious, imaginative doers in a space where your goals aren't too much. They're welcome. Go to the UnCeiling Zone, UnCeiling zone.com to get started. Your future awaits you and will thank you. So let's get started with today's episode. Bart, I am so happy to have you on this podcast, and you are going to be talking about something that's really interesting, and that is monetizing our ideas. And before you as a person, your listener, my dear listeners, think, hey, this is not for me. It is for you. And here's the reason why. You are always dealing with customers, whether you think you're dealing with customers or not. When you're working inside a corporation, your customer are the other departments that you serve or the people that are buying the products. But beyond that, Bart's also going to talk about how you can monetize beyond your working day. And it's something that you should consider. And I think after you hear from Bart and his experiences, you're going to rethink, do I just have to work the 9 to 5? Is there another way? Either way, if you decide not to, this conversation is for you. And also, before we get started with Bart, I just want to share with you that I named this show UnCeiling, and I named the book UnCeiling, like the ceiling above your head, because what we're trying to do is take barriers away from you and take you off to a new level. But unsealing could also mean like you're a prize, you're a present to yourself. And we can open up that package and discover something new. that's inside of you. A third way to think about unsealing is thinking of you have this golden light inside of you. And what we want to do is unseal that golden light and let it out. And so I think after talking with Bart, you're going to see all three of these different definitions of unsealing come out. And I'm super excited about that. With that, let's start with the title of your book. And that is Bart, Start with What You Know. It isn't just a book title, it's a mindset shift. And Bart, you say that we can monetize what we already know, but many people don't recognize the value of their skill. Sometimes it's like trying to describe their nose without having a mirror. So what I want to talk about or ask you is how can community and conversations help us see what we can't see on our own?
So when it comes to monetizing your mindset and monetizing the things you already know, a lot of times the hardest part is finding out what is monetizable or figuring out what is right there in our own backyard. Something that we already know, something that we already do, or maybe it's something that we need to do. And this is something that I do naturally. When something comes across my path, whether it's what I want to do, what I need to do, what I already do, I go, can I monetize it? I don't monetize everything, but I think that about everything. A short, quick example. I bought a riding lawnmower this summer to mow my lawn. It wasn't cheap. Oh, I thought to myself, I bet I could rent this out to my neighbors to help pay for this lawnmower. And then some.
Did you?
I have put it in my neighborhood bulletin board for people to come and rent it for me for cheaper than you can get someone else to do it for you. And so, I mean, we're talking 10, 20 bucks a time. We're not talking a lot of money, but over time it will pay for itself. And I have a riding lawnmower. And so that's just something that is very stupid, and it's not going to create a huge income, but it's going to pay for itself. And it came across my path, and I think that. So how do we do it when we don't think like I do? You're going to look at what do you like to do? What do you need to do? What are you already doing? And you're going to say, can I monetize 1, 2, even 3 of those things? A lot of times we just need a memory jogger to help us. And so as we go into our community and talk with people, we're going to see what other people may be doing. And they may see some of the value that we have that we're holding back. Either way, that can come out. We can ask them, am I living my life purpose? Is there something more in me that I can do? Or we can just watch other people going to networking events and seeing what other people do, and then figure out, can I do that with a little twist to it? Can I make it better than they're doing it and compete on a higher level? So when you go into community, when you go talk to people, when you meet new people, it's an awesome opportunity to see what's already going on all around you.
Well, I have to tell you, I think that you rubbed off on me. And because as many people in my audience know, I play tennis. And one of the things that I've been struggling with is a positive mindset while I'm on the court, especially when I make a mistake, I really can spiral in a negative way. So what I did was I built cards and I put positive statements on it. Well, my friends noticed the cards and then they wanted copies of my cards. And so now what I've done is I've built a screensaver with the cards on my screensaver. And so there you go. I'm thinking to myself, can I monetize this?
It is very monetizable.
There you go. So can you share a time when someone in your circle sparked an idea or an opportunity that you might have missed if you hadn't talked to them?
So I'll share one of the things that is I wonder, what if I would have done it? So your listeners may not know, but I took the first commercial bungee jump to Japan. And when I was over there, I saw these big nets up, I'm talking 50, 60 feet high nets. And I like, what is that? And it was F1 was the title on the sign. And then it was Japanese stuff. Turned out it was a driving range. And this is way before Top Golf. And you would go into this thing and it was amazing. I mean, this was in the 90s. This was in the mid 90s. And the golf ball would come up out of the ground already on the tee. You would hit the golf ball, it would go back down and come right back up with another golf ball. And you could just hit. And they did not sell it by the time, they sold it by the ball. And you had this little card that you could buy 50, 60, 100,000 hits. And you put it in this little machine and you're just hitting away, and all of a sudden it's done. It's gone. You got to go get another card. That is such a money-making machine, because you don't even have to bend over to put the ball on the tee. There is no time lost. You're just bam, bam, bam. And I thought to myself, I need to take this to America. I want one of these in America. And I did my research, I met with some people, and the numbers were just too big for a 24-year-old kid. Too many zeros behind those numbers, and I didn't do it. And I often wonder, what if I had done that? I could be the top golf guy. I could be the owner of this franchise of driving ranges. And I didn't do it. The numbers were just too big for as young as I was.
See, what if you already have an idea? Our listeners are having an idea and they're like, wait, this is too good. I can't do this.
Yeah. And I just wonder, what if my life would have been totally different? Not that I hate my life. I like my life. It's just, it could have been bigger. And it was just one of those misses that I go back and, what if I did?
Yeah.
Now let's go to another part of your question, was who in your life helped you grow? I did a podcast with a guy that was a billionaire. If he wasn't a billionaire, he was really close. And he talked about when he was younger, in college, just out of college, he shared offices with Ryan Smith, the owner of the Utah Jazz, who also owned a big company. I mean, he sold that company for $7 billion. Vivint, the owner of Vivint, and a few other high-profile Utah businessmen that are businessmen now. He shared an office space with these 5 people. And he talked about how that helped him think bigger. And that's what got him to where he was, is being in that room every day. And they're in completely different businesses, but they would associate, they would bang ideas off each other. They would just talk. And being in that environment helped him think bigger. At the time, he was a framer. He owned a framing company business.
Okay.
And now that's just one of the many things he does.
See, there you go. It's like unsealing yourself, thinking big about yourself.
And if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find a different room to help you think bigger.
To grow yourself. So one of the things you also talk about is preparation is power. And sometimes life happens. And you told me a story about life happening with your wife. And I think that it's important for you to share this, but talk about how that preparation doesn't happen alone. How do you build trusted networks and accountability groups to think bigger, to grow that group of people? Like you said, if you're the smartest one in the room, you need to get into a bigger room.
Yes. So let's start off with, I wrote Monetize Your Mindset because of when life happened to me. I say, what happens when what happens happens? Are you prepared? And life almost happened to me and my wife several years ago. My wife is Japanese. She goes to Japan often. And when she's there, she often gets her health checks done. And so she called me from Japan and calmly, I emphasize calmly, informed me that the initial test indicated cancer. And my first thought obviously was, I could lose my wife. Sadly, my second thought was, we can't afford this. I can't afford to drop everything and be by her side as she goes through whatever it is she's going to have to go through. And so my first thought was about money, or my second thought. My first thought was about my wife, and she joked. I mean, she actually said, I guess we're going to have to find you a new wife. And I'm just going, why are we joking about this? This isn't funny. And after 8 sleepless nights, the biopsy came back negative for cancer.
Yay.
And so we were lucky, but it gave me a wake-up call and made me think more about being prepared for when whatever happens, because it will happen. It'll happen to you several times throughout your life. Are you financially prepared? Are you mentally prepared? Are you ready for when life happens?
And
Let me
so
go
that's,
to a different one that I also believed
yeah,
I shared with you.
yes.
This happened several years later, and I was more prepared.
Okay.
But last year, I found out I was going to have my leg amputated. And it's my lower left leg. Once again, my first thought was, oh crap, this is going to hurt. Or I'm going to lose something. I'm going to lose a part of me.
Mm.
And this was an elective surgery. I didn't have to have it done, meaning my other choice was I could be in a wheelchair and keep my leg, but I wouldn't be walking for very much longer.
Mhm.
And so I had a choice, but I had to decide to do it. I waited 6 months for different reasons, and I had a lot of time to think about it.
Mm.
One of the things that helped me at that time, one of my main incomes was dog training. You can't do that when you're missing a leg. I mean, I say can't, you probably could, but it's going to be more difficult.
Mhm.
And so that time between when I got my leg cut off and got my prosthetic was going to be without that main source of income. It was probably 60% of my income. But the fact that I had other streams of income coming in gave me relieved some of that pressure of the other side because of the other side hustles that I do. And so the difference between several years ago and last year was huge. The way I stress? I didn't know how long I was going to be out of commission. So I was a little stressed.
Yeah.
But because this was the first time I'm going through chopping off a leg.
And hopefully the last, right?
And hopefully the last. And so I did have some stress there, but the pressure was relieved quite a bit because I had other streams coming in. That's what I'm talking about here, is being prepared for what happens when what happens, both when it comes to finances and then mentally. Going through the hospital doors that morning to get my leg cut off was the most terrifying thing I have ever done.
Can only imagine.
I was going to walk in, but I wouldn't be walking out. The closest thing I can make you feel, it's a little bit extreme, but I felt like a death row inmate walking to the death chamber. And so that was tough. It was hard to do. I didn't know that I could do it, but I did. I mean, I kind of joked going in. I'm in my head, I'm screaming, okay, peg leg walking. And when it all happened, it happened. Everything, I expected the best, and the best happened. And so that's one thing that I tell people: you need to expect the best, and you need to know what that looks like in some form. My goal was to be back to training dogs in 4 months.
Yeah.
I did it in 3.5.
All right.
And so I had a goal. I expected the best, and the best. And so I don't know if that answered your question, but that's why I do what I do. People need to be prepared for when things happen, because they will. It could
gives
be.
you.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, being prepared like that gives you a sense of freedom, I believe.
Yes. And I also say money isn't everything, or the word is money isn't everything. Or is it when you don't have any, or you don't have enough?
Right.
That's the fear.
What kind of support system would you recommend to someone who's starting a side hustle? It's not that easy, but what kind of support system do you recommend for that side hustle, especially if they feel like they don't belong in the entrepreneurial space?
So you're going to want to have a mentor. Let me share another quick story. When I was a kid, I had a horse named George, and it wasn't my horse. It was a hand-me-down horse from my brother, because my brother was a roper, and this horse would throw its head anytime you threw a rope. And so couldn't really use him as a roping horse. So he was kind of handed down to me, but he wasn't mine. And at 7 years old, I asked my dad, I said, Dad, when is George going to be mine? And he's like, what do you mean? George is your horse. I said, no, when is he going to be mine? My horse. And he thought about it a second. He says, okay, when you can put the saddle on all by yourself, George is your horse. And I'm not talking a little English saddle. I'm talking a Western saddle, adult saddle, probably heavier than I was, or about the same as I was at age 7. But I was excited. I went and grabbed my horse, tied him to the pole in the backyard, grabbed a chair from the dining table, put it by him. I drug the saddle up to the chair. I stood up on the chair. I lifted up as much as I could, not enough to get it over George's back, but enough to kind of push on his side. And the pressure made George step away. So it didn't happen. But I tried every Saturday morning after cartoons, because when I was a kid, we had cartoons on Saturday morning, and that was we were so excited for that. And then after cartoons were over, I would tie George up in the back and we would try and put on that saddle. It didn't happen. Didn't happen. Finally, at age 12, right between the 11 and 12, I was able to get it on, and George was my horse. Now, if I contrast that to a time when I decided I was going to become a professional poker player, there was that Texas Hold'em boom going on, and everybody wanted to be the poker player. And I studied it more than I studied accounting in college. I read books. I mean, we're talking books like this. I dove in. I hungered for it. I read books. I would play poker online every day for 6, 8, 10 hours a day. And after about 6, 8 months, I looked at my account and I think I was positive $500 to $700. I did the math. That was like 29 cents an hour. And I was just like, this isn't going to make it. And so I kind of left that behind. Let's kind of contrast those two. Why did I continue with George for 5 years and I gave poker 6 months? I had a brother that I would see every week when I couldn't put on the saddle. Either my brother or my dad would come and put on that saddle. I would see it. I knew that from watching them, all I needed to do was grow, become stronger. And if I do what they did, I was going to be able to do what they did. So if I did the same things, eventually I was going to get there. With my poker venture, I had books. I didn't have someone right there, a mentor right there by my side to watch, to help me, to guide me. Having those two contrasts, it just kind of tells me how important having someone right there by your side to help you do what it is you want to do. But they have to have done what it is you want to do. And they don't have to be the top person. They can be someone that is just over you, just doing a little bit better than you are. Maybe you're starting and they are 6, 8 months into it, but they've started. For sometimes that's better because it's still fresh on their head. They know the things that they did to make things work. And so you're going to find that mentor that has started a business, that has done what it is you want to do, and be one of their mentees, be the person that they want to lift up. If you don't have a mentor in whatever it is you're trying to do, you're crazy, because you're going to get there faster, do it better than you would if you did it on your own. And you may or may not give up like I did in poker. Maybe I would continue. Maybe I'd be better. Maybe my mentor would tell me, dude, you're just not good. But that is what they're there for. They may tell you that this is not for you. And that could be true. It could be just their thoughts, but it's something you need to consider whenever you have a mentor telling you, hey, this may not be for you.
Right.
That's their job.
So one of the things that you, in going to Japan, you did a bungee jump. Can you talk about how that bungee jump relates to taking that leap towards entrepreneur or your side hustle?
Yeah. Okay. So when I was in Japan, on my busiest day, I assisted 783 Japanese people off the top of an 8-story tower. But sometimes during the week, it'd be a little slower. And I'd be stuck up at the top of the tower, just me and my brilliant mind. And so for those who can see me, this is brilliant. My finger is moving forward. This is crazy. Brilliant, crazy.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm up at the top of my tower. And at the bottom of my tower, there is a stunt person airbag. It's one of those things that you jump into. It's always got air blowing into it, and poof, whenever you hit it, the air goes out and you're safe. In theory, I had heard that people have jumped from the top of my tower, 8 stories high, into this airbag and been okay. I'd never seen it done.
I didn't think it's crazy.
I walked up to the edge. I looked down. No, I ain't that crazy. But I'm still sitting there with my brilliant mind, and my brilliant mind says, okay, well, maybe if you jump attached to a bungee cord, wait for the bouncing to stop, and then you can unhook yourself and you'll fall from 6 stories instead of 8. That's doable. And so I thought, okay, I can do that. I called my buddy up from the bottom of the tower. I jumped, waited for the bouncing to stop, and I tried to unhook myself. But there was too much pressure. I couldn't get unhooked. And so my guy up there let me down, and I go back up to the top of the tower. My brilliant mind continues. What if, so whenever you attach a customer to the bungee cord, we use an about a nylon strap that's about a foot long and about an inch thick, and it has a carabiner on one end. I could take that strap, put the carabiner on the other end of it, so I have a little loop, get 2 of those, and I put them at the bottom of the tower, the bottom of the bungee cord. What do I have? Handles. I can jump off the tower just hanging on with my hands, wait for the bouncing to stop, and then I just let go. Brilliant, right? Got my handles in hand. I walk up to the tower. I look down, walk up to the edge of where I'm looking down, and I jumped. Now, obviously, everything went okay because I'm here.
Yeah, that's what I keep thinking.
Now, sometimes your brilliant mind doesn't go far enough and think things all the way through. I waited for the bouncing to stop, and I let go. And I fell to the mat with a loud slap. The bungee cord shot up to the top of the tower with this loud bang. Everybody in the park heard and came running over to see who just died. I'm crawling out of the safety mat. I'm okay. Everything's good. We're good. But the point of the story is, whether you think it's brilliant, whether you think it's crazy, the point of the story is sometimes you just got to take that jump. Now, you guys listening, watching, you're going to think that's just stupid. My dad, God rest his soul, probably rolls in his grave every time I tell the story because he's like, I didn't raise a kid that stupid. This was an educated jump. I had jumped thousands of times. I knew the pressure. I didn't know 100% that I could hold on. But it was a calculated guess, an educated guess that, yes, I could hang on. So you don't need to go and make stupid decisions. That's not what I'm saying. But you got to be willing to take that step out there, to see what there is to see, to venture out into the unknown, even if you don't know what the outcome is going to be. I jumped. I got to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to fall into the mat, and I did it. Now, this relates to business in that you have to do scary things. You have to take risks. You got to make it happen if you want to go where you want to go. And so that's how bungee jump relates to taking that first step. You got to take that first jump to make it happen. And that's hard. The first step is always the hardest.
Yeah. And the thing is that when you talk about making that bungee jump, you were so curious. You were so curious about what was going to happen that it sounds like it was fun taking that jump.
So when I tell people that going into the hospital was the most terrifying thing that I've ever done, They say that people that know that story, they're like, wait, didn't you jump off a bungee tower just hanging onto the car? Like, doesn't even compare. And so you just got to be willing to take risks. You got to have that mentality, just do it. I mean, I don't want to take Nike's Logan, but you got to do it. You got to actually. So if I look back on my life, I think I mentioned this to you. I look on it and I say, I was just lucky. But no. Well, yes, I was lucky. But what does Seneca say luck is? Luck is when opportunity and preparedness meet. And I add in, you need to take action. So whenever I found out I was going to have my leg amputated, I had 6 months to think about it. Once the shock and awe of the doctor's diagnosis or the doctor's information was over, I said, okay, I don't want this to happen. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do to stop this. So how can I monetize it? I thought about that for a long time. 6 months post-op, I contracted with my prosthetist to talk to people, to help people that are going to have to go through what I went through. And when the opportunity came up, I mean, he didn't ask me. I said, you know what? Your competition down the road, they have a guy. They have a guy that came and talked to me before I did my surgery. You don't have a guy. I'm your guy. And when that opportunity came up for me to say that, I said that. And he says, you may be right. Let's talk about it. What are you going to need? And we contracted, and I'm a 1099 contractor with him. I'm not his employee. He doesn't dictate when I work. He gives me numbers to call and talk to people. And then I help people out as they need. If I hadn't been thinking the way I think, it never would have happened.
You would have missed that opportunity.
And so I think I'd already thought about it. I'd thought about it for probably 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, because the first thought was, okay, this is going to happen. I didn't know how I didn't know how I was going to monetize getting my leg chopped off, but I was going to do it. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I did not expect this to happen this way, but when the opportunity came up, I took it. I jumped at it. I took the action because I'd already been thinking about it.
Right. And so similar, I mean, people are going through their experiences and their experiences can be monetized. So how do you help people see income potential in things that people overlook, like the person themselves are overlooking or others can overlook?
And so I take them through a process. We make lists. By the end of our list, we got 6 lists all up there with of things that they are doing already, whether it's they like to do or they need to do. I mean, I didn't want to get my leg chopped off. I didn't decide to get it chopped off. It's something that had to happen. So that goes under I needed to do it. And I tell people, don't overlook the things that you need to do. And then we go with things you're already doing. I make these lists. And then we refine them into 2 lists. And then we refine that list into 1 list where you have a handful of ideas to pick which one you want to try first. And then we go at it. And the thing about it is if I am working with someone, I don't have an agenda as what I want them to do. I'm not trying to sign them up on my network marketing company. I'm not trying to make money off them and their side hustle. I'm just trying to find the thing that is going to be best suited for them through what the information is they give me. And I don't know, let's just say I'm trying to think of something. We come up with something that requires Google ads. I'm not a Google ad guy. I pay someone to do my Google ads. You can find your own guy or I can let you use mine. He does very well for me. I graduated in accounting, but I don't do accounting. I pay someone a good chunk of change to do my taxes every year because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to do it. And so same thing, you find an accountant to do, I'm not your guy. If you need to find your ideal side hustle, I could be your guy, but I'm not here to guide you in any one direction. This is all about you and your life experiences. In fact, you don't even need me if you can think through the processes that I take people through. I have a psychologist friend of mine. His name is Dr. Paul. He's the positivity psychologist. And he says, I just make them aware of the obvious. And that's what finding your ideal side hustle is. It's just thinking through the obvious and figuring out, okay, how can I monetize XYZ? And when I have you make those lists, we're not even thinking about monetizing anything. I want you to make a list. Then we'll go through it.
There you go.
And so it's just a memory jogger. It's just, I can do that. I mean, I'll give you another example. So this would go on the things you need to do. Several years ago, my wife decided it was time for me to lose weight. She said, I'm getting way more than I bargained for, and I would like to see a little less of you. Now, she was joking, but she was right. I mean, I looked bad. I look back on my before pictures. I was in bad shape. But sometimes us men, we look in the mirror and we go, yeah, I look pretty good. Or we go to Walmart and we look around, I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. And so she convinced me that she needed to get what she bargained for. And I decided, okay, I need to get back to my wedding weight to give her what she thought she was getting. Back to my wedding weight. That is a common goal that's out there. People wanting to get back to their wedding weight. I went to GoDaddy, looked it up. Backtomyweddingweight.com was available. I purchased it. I didn't even know how I was going to lose weight. I just knew that I was going to do it, and I bought it. I held onto that domain for 7 years. I went searching for the holy grail of weight loss programs for me, and everything that was out there was about the 90-day challenge of me exercising, dieting, and getting my butt to the gym. Wasn't in my DNA. I went to the gym that first day. I paid for my 3-year membership, and I never went back again. Finally, a friend of mine from California, Beth, she calls me up and she says, Bart, I found it. What? I found it. You need to try it. It's amazing. You can try it. And if you don't like it, you can send it back. Even if your container's ripped, you can send it back. You can get your money back. I'm like, Beth, what is it? Bart, it's the 10-day celebrity transformation cleanse. My heart dropped. I was like, Beth, I want to do a 10-day cleanse like I want a colonoscopy, and that's not very bad.
Yeah.
Now, Beth, she's pretty quick on her feet. She's like, well, at your age, you probably need both. She bugged me for about 1.5 years. I finally tried it. My first 10 days, I lost 18.5 pounds without stepping foot inside a gym. In fact, they said, don't exercise. It's going to have a counter effect. I was pretty excited. So I had another cleanse. I waited 4 or 5 days. I did another one, lost 11 and a half pounds. So in less than 30 days, I had lost almost 30 pounds. I did 2 more cleanses. I did 4 cleanses in 2 months and 5 days, lost 50 pounds and got back to my wedding weight. My wife was getting what she bargained for and she was happy. Now she wasn't my best cheerleader because when I did the first one, she's like, "You're just going to waste your money." I was like, "No, I can send it back if I don't get my results." And the story isn't about the cleanse. It isn't about the amazing weight loss program. It's the fact that this was something I didn't really want to do. I don't like to diet and exercise, but I made money doing it. I held onto that domain for 7 years before it turned into a stream of income. I promote the cleanse and made a commission off of the cleanse. And it is a network marketing company, all to be, but that is what I was looking for. I just like all these other companies that came at me. I was just like, if I'm going to the gym, dieting and exercising for 90 days, I don't need your product to lose weight. I should lose weight anyway. And so this was the holy grail of weight loss products that it took me 7 years to find, but I held on to that domain.
Yeah.
Now, and so I tell people, you never know how long it's going to take for a side hustle to emerge.
Right.
My bungee jump thing. So how I got there, I went to school in studying accounting because I wanted to get in the FBI. I wanted to go chase serial killers. And at the time that I was going to do this, the easiest way into the FBI was through accounting. And so I had people, my dad and a family friend that was an ex-FBI agent saying, okay, do this. I was not good at accounting. I did not like accounting. If there was accounting in the name of the class, I could study my butt off and I wasn't going to do better than a B. We have other stuff like math, I don't know, psychology, health, and I didn't have to study and I would get an A or a B. It was that's just the way it was. If accounting was in the title, I wasn't going to do well. And so right before I graduated, I had 1 quarter left to go to. I went home to help Dad on the pig farm, which we haven't got into yet, but my dad is a pig farmer. I went down to help him on the pig farm to improve my Spanish. And while I was down there, I had customs agents, border patrol agents, FBI friends, police that were getting this RK surgery done on their eyes to correct their vision. It was what was before LASIK, and it was just barely coming out. And I'm down in Podunk, New Mexico, small town, New Mexico, making money. This money's burning holes in my pocket. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do this. It costs $1,500 an eye to get it done. I went and got it done and it was perfect. One eye was 20/20. The other one was 20/25. I loved it. I was without my glasses till I was 50 and I was perfect vision. It was great. But I got back up to school, was finishing up my accounting degree, started the application process, and I found out that automatically disqualified me from the FBI.
Yeah.
You could get it done after you get in, but not before.
Oh my gosh.
I was
doesn't
devastated.
seem fair.
It was considered experimental because it was new and they didn't want to put thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars into an agent and then they can't see. And so I understand kind of. I don't know why they would let you do it once you get in.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. But anyway, so I was devastated up at school working a part-time job landscaping for $5 an hour, which was the going rate at the time. I guess that tells you how old I am. But a friend of mine who worked for the bungee tower company says, hey, we just sold a bungee tower in Japan. Do you want to go back to Japan? And I spoke fluent Japanese. Well, I considered it was fluent until I went back there and found out, I forgot a lot. But he says, you want to go back to Japan? I'm like, the pay was like 4 times what I was getting. Plus they paid my expenses. I'm like, yeah, I think I kind of do. I didn't think it would happen within a year. I didn't know how long it would take before the 3 months I was in Japan pushing little Japanese people off the top of a 8-story tower. And so the one that I didn't think would happen happened in 3 months. The one that I thought, okay, all I need to do is lose weight and I'll be starting making money, took me 7-8 years to get to a stream of income. And so you never know what's going to take hold the quickest and how good it's going to be. I've always wanted to monetize my mutt. I'm a dog lover. I've had a dog since I was a kid. We adopted this 8-month-old, 90-pound Rottweiler that didn't know the word no. I kept bugging my friend who was a dog trainer. I kept, Sean, how do you do this? This dog's doing this. How do I stop that? He would tell me. Call him again. Sean, my dog's doing this. How do I stop that? He's like, FIFA. He says, Bart, we're doing a train the trainer program. It's a 2-month all-intensive program. Why don't you come and go to this program? And it wasn't cheap. It was $8,000 to go join his program. And so I was right in the process of refinancing my home. And so I took out $14,000 to help start my dog training business. I went to his 2-month intensive. I trained tons of dogs, all different sizes. I quit when I finished the training. I partnered with a buddy that I met at the training. We share the expenses, but we have different businesses. And so we have a Series LLC where we have one website, one Google guy, and then the dogs that come from me, or I do one part of things and he does another part of things. And it's been great. Our first year I did almost $100K in business and he did almost $50K very part-time. And it happened quick. And all I did was go to a class. And that mentorship from Sean, he not only taught us how to train dogs, he talked about the business side of things, how to talk to your clients, how to talk to your customers on the phone. My Google guy, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but my Google guy says, Bart, you keep your clients on the phone longer than anyone I've ever seen. You need to do a class on how to keep your clients on the phone when they call you from a Google ad. So that might be something I need to do. But all I do is I talk about them. I ask them, okay, so what's happening with your dog? And sometimes you have clients break down in tears.
Yeah.
Because I listened.
Yeah.
I wasn't telling them, okay, I have this program and this is what you need to do. And da-da-da-da-da-da. I listened to them and we talked about what was going on. And so it's just one of those things where your business can start from anywhere. A dog that I adopted has made me $500,000 over 6 years.
Wow.
Because he was a problem. Do you have a kid that is a problem that you can help parents with problem kids?
Right.
So I volunteered at a drug rehab center. I was teaching them how to tell their story. Without dropping F-bombs everywhere. But I was I was doing a Toastmasters style class at this drug rehab center. A lot of these people that go through the drug rehab center, what do they end up doing for work? They end up working in drug rehab centers, teaching people to do what it is that they did. I have a friend, Natalie, whenever I had to have my leg amputated, my prosthetist told me, he says, you need to get a grief counselor and someone to help you say goodbye to your leg. Natalie was my grief counselor. She's a grief counselor because she lost a teenage boy. She didn't want to go through that, but she took that experience and turned it into an income. She became a certified grief counselor. So when life gives you lemons, what are you supposed to do?
Create lemonade.
Make lemonade.
Yeah.
I not only create lemonade, I tell people you need to build a lemonade stand if you're already building the stuff.
Gotcha. So just to wrap this portion up, I really appreciate all of this. So I think that for my listeners, for you, my dear listener, you have something here, and it's just a matter of unsealing it. And so if you want to reach Bart, how do people find you so they can figure out how to find the prize within themselves?
Okay, so I have my website is bartmerrell.com. I have a YouTube channel that I just started a couple of weeks ago called Bart Merrell, the Side Hustle Samurai. And we just talk about different things you're going to need to know about a side hustle. I also have a free gift that is just a memory jogger. It's the 25 successful side hustles for 2025. And you can find that. You can put that in the notes. You have the link, I believe.
I'll put that in the notes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can put that in the notes. And then Facebook, I'm on Facebook, Bart Merrell. I'm out of Utah. I look like this. And that's the places you can find me.
Excellent. I want to thank you so much for being on the UnCeiling You podcast.
All right. Thank you.
Today's conversation with Bart delivered exactly on what we promised. You saw how to uncover the hidden value in what you already know. You heard how preparation, not panic, can be your superpower when life happens. And most importantly, you witnessed how community and mentorship makes all the difference between an idea that fades and one that flies. Whether it's a positive mindset cards on the tennis court or a bungee tower in Japan, or turning a recovery into a revenue stream. This episode reminding us that your life isn't just happening to you, it's happening for you. And you don't have to figure any of it out alone. Your next step is to join the UnCeiling Zone. Inside the UnCeiling Zone, we go beyond inspiration. We give you live coaching to get unstuck, tactical resources like templates, scripts, and workshops, and private podcast episodes, replays for busy, ambitious minds. A powerful peer community who sees you, gets you, and grows with you. This is where people come not just to dream bigger, but to act bigger, to finally launch that side hustle, speak up at work, build out that brand, and reclaim their time, their voice, their value. Your transformation starts here. When you step into the UnCeiling Zone, you stop waiting for permission. You start living in the version that's been quietly waiting to be unsealed. Because once you believe that your story, your skills, and even your struggles have value, you become limitless. So just don't listen, step in. Go to the UnCeiling Zone, UnCeiling Zone, and join us. Your people are waiting, your power is waiting, and your next chapter starts now. Until next time, please keep showing up, keep growing, and keep unsealing you.